What's up, everybody? Jason Delgado here to talk some Chargers football. It's an exciting day, you know, and feel free to comment. The comments show up there. There was somebody last time who wanted to ask a lot of movies and comic book questions. That's cool too. You know, I do it all here. So anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. But Chargers are on my mind right now because we've hired a new DC defensive coordinator, Chris O'Leary. When I posted about it, I posted Jesse Minter 2.0 question mark, and that's really what it seems like. He's a young guy who has a lot of fire, passion. He was the Chargers secondary coach in 2024. He went to college and proved he can do it in college, and he wants to come back to the pros just like Minter did, just like McDonald did, and who's about to win a Super Bowl with Seattle. So I love this hiring. There's also Butch Berry, our new O-line coach. Love to see that. He transformed Miami's offensive line from a terrible unit, just like the Chargers unit was this past season, and got some all pros out of them, got a lot out of a really low graded, low paid line. So you love to see it, and the Chargers are going to try to fix that O line. So imagine, what Butch can do with a great O line. Imagine what Chris is going to do to improve this Chargers defense. Hopefully we add some more talent to it. I want to show you guys a mic'd up video of Chris just to compare how close he is to Jesse Minter.
See it today? We're going to have urgency today, Goody. My mindset's, I'm making a play today. I'm about to make a play. You look so... That's one of the least swag sock game. All right. Yeah. I feel that. I feel that. That's why I got short sleeves on. Yeah.
Coach faster with these shoes. Yeah, see that.
Yeah, I do. It makes me have a sense of urgency, one. And then two, I can get in and run routes anytime I'm needed. That's the purpose. Go low, set your angle. Good rep. It's got to be game-like. All right, it's got to be game. You got to think you're in a game right now, mentally, visually. Let's go. Ooh. Play action. There it is. Stay high. Yeah. Make it. Yeah, Dean.
Love the passion. Love it.
Bing bong. Good spot.
That's all I'm worried about. I know we can do
That's
it.
it. It's like, like everybody can
we know we can do it.
Everybody in America can respond one time. But is it who we are? Yeah, is it who we are? It's like I told you today. Led by the strong. You strong. Lead us. Hold people accountable.
Appreciate you challenging me, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Make others stronger. That's your job.
We just gotta be able to, like you say, make a play. Somebody make a play, and then now it's like, God,
that's right.
We feel like we Superman. Right?
That's right.
Best coach in America.
Tell the world. Appreciate you. Put it on the resi.
Well, Chris is gonna have a great resi now. Man, it's exciting to watch because you see the similarities to Minter. You see the passion, you see the love the players have for him, and they've been tweeting about it, and they've been excited about it. So what are your thoughts, Bolt fam? Let me know in the comments there. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But there's so much to be excited for as a Charger fan. You have Mike McDaniel, who's going to really transform this offense. He's going to finally get Herbert so many easy plays. He doesn't want Herbert to work so hard. You're going to get a lot of easy dump offs, plays that just weren't there for Herbert before, that could go for 60 yards. that can go for a touchdown. Amarian Hampton will be a fantasy superstar. So will Oronde Gaston the second. So you want these guys on fantasy, but it's going to be fun to watch because this offense is going to be able to score at any time, which they weren't before. It was a sluggish offense. We had a lot of problems. The offense was a huge problem last year. Shawn Michaels says, I like the hire, but I wish he had a little more experience as defensive coordinator. That's fair. I mean, you're taking a chance on a young guy. He was in the building before, so they know what they're getting. You could have gone with Klinksdale. I talked about Klinks earlier. He was a guy a lot of people thought would get the job. So the Chargers and Harbaugh must really like what they see with Chris O'Leary. It's the players absolutely love O'Leary. That's what I like about this. He's young like Minter and McDonald. McDonald with Harbaugh was young also. So there's a lot to love about this hire. It is a little bit of unknown because he is so young. He doesn't have a ton of experience, but it's got me excited because you could potentially have that same kind of Minter defense with the McDaniel's offense. That who's going to beat that? If we have an explosive offense and a stingy defense, I don't see anybody beating us, really. You win that game in New England if you have an offense with all the the 2 turnovers the defense got, the way the defense was playing and holding them down. You win that game with Mike McDaniel. So you look at that and the team is going to upgrade the center, the right guard. And the way Butch Berry is going to coach this offensive line, coach them up, with having Slater back, with having Alt back, this team, really, the expectation for this team should be a Super Bowl. I see last year I saw a lot of Chargers podcasters saying, we're going to win 9 games, barely scrape by because the schedule's too tough. Well, we won 11. The schedule's tough again next season. We're going to play the Patriots. We're going to play a lot of these tough teams that we're in the playoffs. But with an explosive offense, a great defense, a much stronger O-line because of coaching and a couple upgrades, there should be no other expectation than to win a Super Bowl next season. And that's what I fully expect. That's what I believe this team can do, and it's exciting. Are you guys just as excited, or are you worried about the inexperience of O'Leary, like some comments here? It's an exciting time. Chargers, I don't think the Chargers have ever had so much talent on as far as coaching, as far as so many holes filled. It's just a couple places, the O-line we have to fix, but there's not a whole lot this team needs. We can draft another edge possibly in the draft. O'Leary has his own guys from college. You might draft one of his guys. So I've never been so excited about an LA Chargers team. It's just crazy to see that we're so close. I haven't felt like we've been so close to the Super Bowl before this. Those years with Rivers, he always had bad O-lines. There was times with bad defense. bad special teams. There was always something going on with those teams, and with this Chargers team, with the roster almost complete, with the coaching staff complete, I'm confident. I've never felt so confident. There's been years before Harbaugh coming felt great, but we all knew Greg Roman could be a limitation, and unfortunately, he turned out to be. We knew the problems this offensive line had, and that proved correct. We all know the problems this team has. Mike McDaniel knows the problems this team has, but he knows the strengths too. And he's more excited than ever to get to coach a quarterback the talent of Herbert. He said as much. He's never had a quarterback. Tua was never as good as Herbert. There was always that debate, and that debate's dead now. So someone with the arm strength of Herbert, the talent, the physicality, being able to run. McDaniel is going to create, he said he's going to create a new offense that he's never done before. And that's exciting because what he had before could put up 30 points a game when it needed to, could put up 5,000 yards with little quick quick passing game. And that's what you're going to get a lot with Herbert. So are some of you guys, it'll be interesting to see if some of you guys will get upset by the quick passing. There'll still be explosive plays. I think there'll be enough explosive plays for everyone to be happy. I think that's what Charger fans were upset about with Greg Roman. Besides the ineffectiveness, just know, it was rare there was explosive plays. You'd see it against Dallas. It'd come out every now and then. But with Mike McDaniel, it'll be a lot more consistent. And he said he's going to tailor the offense. He's not just bringing his offense over. He likes to study players like Herbert. He'll go through 4 or 5 years of game tape and see Herbert's tendencies and what he likes to do and improve on that. Now, that's really exciting. And he said he's not just going to ask him, which I think is great. Don't ask these guys what they want. See what they actually do in the games to see what can be improved and what they actually do when the time is tough to help them out. Shawn Michaels, I still believe the Chargers are at least 2 years away from making a real Super Bowl run. Mike McDaniel was the best hire we could have made for the offense. I give Harbaugh a lot of credit for getting that hire done. Yeah, tons of credit to Harbaugh. He had to fire his buddy, Greg Roman. Must not have been tough. I mean, must have been tough. Personal relationships mean a lot to him. He loves hanging in the building with guys that he likes. And it'll be interesting to see Mike McDaniel with Harbaugh. People think of these guys as being so different, but I think they have so many similarities. Just they march to the beat of their own drum. They're not so much worried about public perception. They're just themselves. And you love to see that. They both love the run game. Mike McDaniel started as a run game coordinator. So, look at his running backs over the years. Achane, Alfred Morris, Mostert, Raheem Mostert. These guys have all done incredible things that when McDaniel leaves, they're just average players again. So think about Omari and Hampton, who already has shown flashes of greatness. Pair him with McDaniel, who can scheme up 80, 60-yard runs where he's not even touched because McDaniel is just such a deep genius on offense. And you may have McDaniel 1 year, maybe 2 years at the most, just because he's such a great offensive mind. Teams are going to want to hire him as a head coach again. They were already trying to hire him this past year, and more jobs will open up. You can't worry about that. You have to worry about right now. And I could see how people would think we're 2 years away. You have to win it now. There is no 2 years. If you have Slater back, if you have Alt back, you have all the weapon. You have Lad McConkey, Rondi Gadsden, Trey Harris stepping up even more. Trey Harris, people forget. Trey Harris, well, I'll say a lot of Charger fans don't forget. We know we appreciate Trey Harris, even though a lot of games he'd have 1, 2 catches. You could see the talent on display, and in a lot of the rest of the game, he was blocking. He's a great blocker. So he can step up even more. KLS didn't get a lot of play time. He had a great touchdown pass. I see Mike McDaniel doing a lot with KLS. This is a guy who has speed, who showed a lot in training camp. He's going to be stretching the field. We already know QJ stepped up big time. So what's QJ's role in this offense going to be interesting to see. Is he going to do some Debo things with QJ, even though QJ doesn't have that physicality, but he has the speed? We'll just have to see. Even Mike McDaniel doesn't even know what he's going to do next. But I think the potential there for the defense to be even fresher with another mind who coached the secondary so well in 2024, who made Derwin James an All-Pro, and hopefully brings that back to Derwin James, and who gave Eric Molden so much success when he had only been traded a week before, and he simplified. Chris O'Leary simplified the offense for Molden, that he came in right away and was a stud for the secondary. So you can see the teaching skills are there for O'Leary. I don't doubt that he's going to be able to have great relationships with these guys, because he already does. And you see in these little clips that he's a great teacher, like Minter was. So the only question is, can he play call like Minter? And his 1 year in college, they were one of the top defenses in the nation, going from, I have to check the numbers again, but it was something like they were 140th ranked to 11th ranked defense in the nation with him calling the defense. So I'm very confident in this new hire that the defense could get even better, guys. With Owe there for a full season, with hopefully Mac back, you could even draft another edge so that you have 4 guys you're confident about. And even Kyle Kennard, hopefully Kennard develops into a guy that can be in the rotation. Then you got 5 edges, which would be insane. And you're already set at so many positions. We got Tier Tart back. Maybe get another D-line. If we can sign Lindenbaum or another good center, use the free agent cap space we have on that to plug up that center position, then you're just talking, you need to draft a right guard, and then you can focus on defense, maybe get one more receiver if you feel like the room is light. But I feel like we're going to see a lot more out of Lad McConkey. That's going to be huge with Mike McDaniel. He's going to scheme up so much stuff with Lad that we didn't see this past year. The quickness, the ability to get open at any time, the yak. Those were things we weren't seeing this year with Greg Roman, which is sad because we saw the potential. We saw Lad do it his first year. So Mike McDaniel is going to bring that back even more, I believe. I believe Lad will be a value in fantasy drafts because he'll slide because of his performance of this last year. So with an explosive offense, with the kind of defense that can dominate, I really believe that this is a Super Bowl team this coming season. Of course, we have to get the center, we have to get the right guard, but you're those 2 players away, and a healthy Slater and a healthy Alt. You bring Zion back on a team-friendly deal. And what's going to stop this team? Maybe even get another corner. Dante Jackson turned out to be a shutdown corner. We got him on a really cheap deal, only like $2 million a season. He's locked up next season too. So if you get another shutdown corner with Dante Jackson, and you still have Still and Hart, and even Benjamin St. Juice played pretty well last season. So you get upgrades all around. You add a few pieces here and there. Who's going to stop us? The Patriots are the big team right now, but if you even just add Mike McDaniel in, and we're scoring those touchdowns in the red zone where we couldn't get anything done, we win that game and beat the Patriots, guys. And then who do you fear? Shawn Michaels, Tyler Lindenbaum has to be the number one priority in free agency. Agreed. And draft the Penn State guard with the first round pick if he's available. I'm not sold on the defense though. We need more playmakers back there. Yeah. Get a couple more playmakers in the defense, in the draft, in free agency. I think the defense is pretty solid, but you can always add a couple more guys. I think we just won't have to worry about that defensive play caller calling with O'Leary, because they felt confident enough in him to give him the job over Klingsdale. And we were all high on Klingsdale. He was in the building. He did such a good job. But Harbaugh and the staff decided that O'Leary was their guy. So I trust Harbaugh's his decision making. His only bad one was Roman, but he had success with him before. He was his buddy. Now that's over. This team, you put a team that can score at any time, that can have explosive plays, that can run and pass the ball. It's going to be hard to beat this Chargers team. It will. Even the pieces we have right now. I just feel like much of the defensive success had to do with Minter, because I don't see a lot of talent back there. You know what? Minter was a big part, but I got to disagree about the talent aspect. Derwin James, Thule, Owe, Deion Henley, Tony Jefferson, these guys all have a lot of talent. The coaching and the play calling definitely elevated them too, but these are talented guys. Khalil Mack, these guys have shown they can get the job done. They can hold teams down in the playoffs. Houston, Patriots. The Patriots were much more, they put up 29 points against the Houston Texans the next week after they played us, and they only put up 16. We had a couple we forced them into a couple turnovers. The defense was not the problem in that game against the Super Bowl Patriot team. So if O'Leary is a superstar like Minter, you're getting that same defense back. Dante Jackson played huge when people didn't think he was going to have success after Pittsburgh. And we saw the same thing with Fulton when O'Leary was here. People didn't think Fulton would be a good corner for us. He ends up getting $20 million from Kansas City because he played well enough here. So these guys are going to be coached up. We have so many pieces already on the defense. Like I said last time, I hope Junior Colston can come back and do something for this team. He's been injured for 2 years. A lot of people probably forgot about him or down on him. But we saw what he was able to do in that Michigan defense, and he's still on that rookie deal. Just think about him next to Henley. If you got those two young guys and they're working That can be a great linebacker combo. Do we have a pass rusher who we can count on from year in and year out to have 10 plus sacks a year and is a linebacker and teams have to worry? I think Thule is that guy. I think Thule has stepped up into that guy. What did he have? 13 sacks, something like that this year. I know other years he's kind of had down years. He wasn't the starter in other years. I think Thule has become that guy you can count on. Owe had 10 sacks for us this year after getting traded after 6 games from the Ravens. So you have 2 young guys who I think both guys you can count on for 10 sacks at least. And hey, draft another. If you have to draft another guy because you know that Mac isn't coming back after. If Mac comes back, let's face it, it's probably his last year next year. He would only come back if he feels we can win a Super Bowl, and I think we can for him. So you're looking at maybe 1 year in Mac. It'd be nice to draft another edge who you feel great about, and that'd be crazy if you get 3, 4 edges that just all are creating havoc with Tier Tart on the inside, with Caldwell on the inside, who are doing a great job. Maybe get another interior D lineman too. You can never have enough of those guys as well. But I really don't see many, I don't see many holes on this team. I just don't. Especially with the coaching, with what we've done already. I really believe this next year is the year. You can't mess around and waste years. You can't mess around and waste Justin Herbert's career like that. And that's why Harbaugh went out and got Mike McDaniel, because he knew the offense was not right with Roman. He knew the line was not right. So they fixed it. They fixed the offense. They fixed the line. What happened to that South Carolina edge we drafted in the 3rd round, I believe? Kyle Kennard. Kyle Kennard. You think we can count on him to contribute? I don't think you can count on him yet. He didn't have a great rookie season, but we've seen that with so many players in the NFL. We hope he can take that jump, that next step. You got to hope he can. And then you would have a great edge room. But I don't think you can count on him yet, because there were a few games where we had injuries. We put him in. He was not able to set the edge. And that's huge, because if you don't have Khalil Mack to set the edge. Kyle Kennard was in that Washington game, and we were getting burned by Bill, the Commanders running back. He just kept bouncing to the outside on Kennard. Kennard could not stop him. So I'm sure the coaches have put a big emphasis on the things Kyle Kennard has to clean up. I'm sure he knows what he has to do. Is he going to put in the work? That's on him, but I hope so. Because, 3rd round is pretty big draft capital. We've had trouble, Colston and Kennard. We need both these guys to step up next year, and you hope they do. You hope like QJ, rough rookie season. Some of these guys just aren't ready coming out of college. They need a year or two. So could Kennard be that guy? Yeah, he could be. He could, but it would be nice to, like you said, we could draft another guy, get a guy in the 1st round, maybe even the guy, Chris O'Leary's team. I saw some highlights of him, great edge rusher. You could draft him in the 1st round, and O'Leary knows him. So that's a possibility there. And then you go in the 2nd round, 2nd or 3rd round, get a guard. And and this team is set. Everybody knows. Harbaugh knows. I'm sure even our new O-line coach, Butch Berry, knows that we need a new center and need a new right guard. Hopefully, you get Zion back for not too much money, but he could be. The guard market has exploded, so you could be looking at 17 million a year for Zion, which is crazy, but he's got that athleticism to run the Mike McDaniel system where you want to get to the second level as an offensive lineman. That Bengals edge rusher is going to become a free agent. Yeah, the Bengals edge rusher, he'd be a ton of money. I know we have 100 million in cap space. We have a lot of free agents to re-sign. You want to throw money at a center to get a center in here. So for that reason, I would rather draft an edge if we're going to get an edge, because it's just going to tie up so much money that the rest of the team would really be deficient, I think, if we put that money into edge rusher. So I don't see us signing an edge rusher. Draft is much more likely, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Do you think that KLS can step up with Mike McDaniel? I show the camp highlights on my feed. I take the videos. There were so many highlights of KLS, Keandre Lambert-Smith, super fast guy who can beat the defense. I've seen Charger fans some advocate for Tyreek Hill. No, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. But KLS can be a taller version of that, just with his speed. Nobody's as fast as Prime Cheetah. I'm not saying it, but you want a speed guy, a burner guy who can stretch the defense. KLS can be that, and we saw QJ even be that at times. And he really stepped up with his catching down the field. So what's Mike McDaniel going to do with these guys, that we haven't seen yet? And I've heard about Trey Harris possibly being kind of a Brandon Ayuk type of player. That would be interesting if he became more of an Ayuk. And Harris showed he can be a great route runner, just like Keenan, like Ladd. So I know I've seen people say we need that number one wide receiver. I think they're already in the room. Hey, what's up, YGTBC? Hey, I was talking about earlier in the show. I loved your questions last time about the movies, about the comic books. Feel free to ask at any time. I cover all that stuff. So I know this is a Charger theme live stream right now, but you got any questions about the movie stuff? I love to talk about that too. If Tyreek Hill can come back from his injury and be like 80% of his old self, Herbert to Hill would be dangerous. Well, see, this is what Charger fans have been talking about, but I have a few reasons why I don't see that. Because, okay, football stuff aside, the guy's just not Tyreek Hill is just not a good dude. The Chiefs drafted him after in college he hit his pregnant wife in the stomach trying to force a miscarriage. He was beating his pregnant wife and he was arrested for it, all that stuff. The Chiefs still drafted him. They didn't care. That's a big issue to me. Then the guy chokes his girlfriend after that. He could have broken his son's arm. That it was either him or his wife at the time. We're not quite sure. It's just a multiple abuse situations with Tyreek Hill where it just shows he just doesn't have the character, man. So you put all that football stuff aside, and then you bring the football stuff into it. He's 32 years old. He he wasn't doing anything on the field. His final season in Miami, and then he tears his knee after that. After he's shown he's not productive like he used to be, and then he tears his knee. So I think you're looking at Tyreek Hill is absolutely done. I don't think he's got anything left in the tank. And on top of that, he's got the worst character in the NFL. So all those things combined would make me say I wouldn't even give him the minimum deal, which to get him right now, you're looking at paying training for him and paying $26 million. So yeah, I don't see that. I think it's kind of strange. You, of course, we all think back to the Chiefs and our rivalry with them and how Hill was so dangerous. And you think about a burner on the field. But look, guys, we might already have that with KLS, a taller version in KLS. So, and I know we didn't see much of him, but yeah, I mean, I've seen Tua underthrow a wide open Hill on many times. That's true. Tua wasn't a great quarterback, and Hill could have been struggling because of the quarterback play. That's true, but 32 years old, he tore up his knee. I just don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't. I know people want it to be that thing, but when you watch KLS in camp and you see the speed, and he's that big target that Herbert loves to go to, like Michael Williams was, I think that's the way to go. I really do. And even QJ has been that guy at times. So I really think in the wide receiver room, and people forget Lad can be a burner. He's got that 4.3 speed. You think of him as a possession guy because that's what you know Greg Roman usually used him as, and he can be that. He can be that guy who runs those short routes, but Lad can also stretch the field. We saw it more his rookie year, but he's a guy who can get down and make those explosive plays, or even after the catch. So the way Mike McDaniel is going to use these receivers, he's going to do things that they haven't done before and get them in positions where they're going to be scoring so much. What happened to Ladd? He wasn't the same this past season. I agree. And that comes down to a couple things. That comes down to Greg Roman not using him correctly. He was being Greg Roman loved to call all these 7-step dropbacks, these long developing plays when there was no O-line to protect Herbert. And you could see in the film, Ladd was still getting open, but the protection wasn't there for Herbert to find Ladd. Even in that playoff game against the Patriots, there were multiple times Ladd got open, but Herbert was already running for his life. So there's no drop in Ladd's ability. It's still there. It's just the protection and the offensive scheme. So that's why I feel like with Mike McDaniel, Ladd is going to be dominant even more than he was his rookie season. I really feel that he's going to be that number one wide receiver we've been looking for with Mike McDaniel. And the other thing about Ladd, people complain about it, is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen plays a very similar style, and that's what we all said before signing Keenan Allen. That was the danger of it. And look, maybe Keenan Allen could have been a hindrance to Ladd. He took targets away. So maybe you get rid of Keenan. That opens up more for Ladd, who's quicker, who's younger. So Sean says, I think Ladd might have had an injury lingering the whole season that we probably don't know about. It could be. That's a lot of times the case when a player underperforms. But you also look about Keenan stealing away targets from him, catches from him, and the poor play of the offensive line, the poor play calling where Ladd isn't being utilized correctly. You're not using Roman wasn't using Ladd in the quick game like he should have, where you need Herbert to get the ball out quick because there's so much pressure. And that's what Mike McDaniel does so well. That's what he did so well with Tua. You get the ball out quick. You need a receiver who's going to get open really fast, and that's what Ladd does. And we weren't seeing it last season because they weren't using Ladd like that. So that was on Greg Roman, I feel. Who knows? Ladd could have had an injury. Ladd did get hurt in training camp, so he could have came out a little slow. Could that have lingered all season? Or could he have picked up something new? It's always possible. But I think we see Ladd bounce back in a big way, especially knowing, the year after that he can get a huge contract if he's the number one wide receiver. So I'm not worried about Ladd at all. I think Mike McDaniel is really going to elevate all these skill position guys like he did in his other stops, in Washington. Like I said, Alfred Morris, these guys, the tight end is always huge in Mike McDaniel's offense. So Ronnie Gadsden, the running back, Hampton, Kamari, these guys are really going to feast in this offense because you can see in these videos he was talking about the Chargers game this past year, Mike McDaniel was, and he said, I know in the zone coverage, if I just put 4 guys on offense over to this side, it's going to be wide open. And Darren Waller, he was in this interview. Waller said, I was wide open for the touchdown. And he got the touchdown, just like, and Waller was out of football for a year or two. And he steps in and becomes a superstar all of a sudden because of McDaniel, because of his play calling. So we've already seen the athleticism of Gadsden. He's going to be a superstar. He may get 10 touchdowns this season, easy, Gadsden. And you're going to see Ladd step up again. So what does this team really need if we're just a piece or two away on both sides of the ball from being truly dominant? It's we do only have 5 draft picks next season, which we know we're going to try to get more. You could trade back to get more. I've seen some people say we should trade QJ to get more draft picks. I don't know about that. QJ keeps stepping up every year. It really depends what you could get. But I love QJ. I've stood by him since the beginning. And he's all he's done is get 8 touchdowns the last 2 seasons, which not many players have done. So for a touchdown machine, it'd be good to keep him around, I think. Are there any other pieces you think we're away from getting to a Super Bowl? Sean, I know you said you think we're 2 years away. You think we need some more defense. What do you guys see holding this team back? If we fix that O-line and we have that explosive offense, it's going to be really interesting. It will be. Because if you're right, and that defense does struggle a little bit without Minter, then you're almost in the Brandon Staley days again, where it's like you're just scoring a ton of points and hoping you stop them just enough. But no, I shouldn't say that because Staley had the worst defense. There's no way we're going with Harbaugh that we're going back to the worst defense like Staley. So even if let's say you step back to a middle of the pack defense, which I don't think is going to happen, but you say we do that, but our offense improves to where we can score 25 points a game. I think we win our division next season, guys. that's really the one path that I think we must do. We must win our division, and KC is down right now. We already know about the Raiders, who maybe they'll draft Mendoza and have a future, but they're not doing anything next season. And the Broncos, who Bo Nix just broke his leg. Apparently, he'll be healthy in 6 weeks and ready to go. But will Nix be moving like he did before? After the broken leg. And I've seen Denver fans worried that they're going to lose some key defensive players. So if Denver steps back and we take a step forward, we win that division, get the home playoff games at SoFi. We have an explosive offense. That place is rocking. SoFi is rocking. Like the game against the Houston Texans I was at, where it was 99% Charger fans. What a turnaround this team would have from going from a laughing stock to making the playoffs every year, but where people say Herbert can't get it done. They're calling him playoff Herbert now, demeaning him. What a step that would be from going that to winning the division, to winning the Super Bowl and proving everybody wrong. That people think that Herbert, because he's a shy guy, that he doesn't have enough passion. Well, Mike McDaniel said in his conference, he could feel the passion coming from Herbert. And that's exactly what I felt the time I met Justin Herbert and I talked to him about the upcoming season. There was so much passion in his voice, and he was so excited. And he said, "Hey, we're ready. We're ready to go. I can't wait." And it was the season Herbert got hurt, unfortunately, where Brandon Staley's last season. But he was so excited, and I could feel that. It emanated from him, and that's exactly what Mike McDaniel said. So you think about a season where Herbert has been so beat up, so broken, yet he still won 11 games. I just think that was a superhuman effort. It wasn't in the playoffs. Shawn Michaels, I've defended Herbert, but there's no more excuses for Herbert if he doesn't perform next year in the playoffs. I agree. Now that he has the play caller, before you could say he had no play calling, he had no offensive line. But if he gets there with Mike McDaniels, there's no excuse because we've seen Mike McDaniels do it without an offensive line. He didn't do it in the playoffs, but you get Harbaugh and McDaniel together and you get Herbert there. Herbert has to do something in the playoffs. And I see us winning the division as a way to have to get that going for him because I feel like Herbert, all he's had is road playoff games with tough defenses. If you get him at home, you get that place rocking and the fans with him, and he gets going. He gets a big touchdown. They have the lead in the playoff game. I think he's going to finish it. I think he's going to show what he's shown during the regular season to us Charger fans all these other times. And if he doesn't, there's going to be a lot of question marks. There would be. If we get to SoFi with Mike McDaniels with a new line, what do you do if he loses another playoff game? You're not getting rid of Justin Herbert. He's here to stay. Like Phillip Rivers, you ride him. But I mean, if you're in the playoffs, you're going to go up against tough defenses. That's true. That's true. But we had a basic offense with Greg Roman. And then the year against Jacksonville, we put up points, a ton of points, Herbert did. And then you got to count on your run game in the second half, and Eckler wasn't getting anything in that run game. And then the defense went to hell in the second half. So that Jacksonville playoff game, I don't play on Herbert. Herbert played great that game, except for he missed Keenan Allen in the end zone for a throw that could have been the difference. but Dicker missed a big kick in that game. You had Bosa getting penalties. That game was a mess that I think is unfair to blame Herbert for the Jacksonville playoff loss. I think he played well that game, almost 300 yards, a touchdown. Could he have played even better? Sure. But with Mike McDaniel finding easy outlets, easy buttons for Justin Herbert to get offense without him being Superman on every play like he was this past season, I think you see a different Justin Herbert. If you see a Herbert who's not battered and broken by the end of it like he was in that Patriots game, I think you see a different guy. Herbert needs to improve on reading defenses and adjusting O-line assignments on the line. Agree. And I think that's where Mike McDaniel and I think that's where Butch Berry come in. I think they're going to be huge in improving Herbert at reading the defenses and adjusting the O-line. Because we saw Tua was able to do that. He was able to get the ball out quicker than anybody in the league pretty much. That year he threw for 5,000 yards. Tua was just getting the ball out right away. And that was Mike McDaniel, guys. He wasn't doing that before. He hasn't been doing that since. So, and you fix that line. You give Herbert trust in his guys. But we saw it just with Joe Alt back there. Herbert had trust in that line, and we were winning games. We won something crazy like 6-0 with Joe Alt, something like that. In the games he went down and he didn't play. A different story, completely different story. So you get Alt and Slater back. Those two guys alone are huge upgrades for this offense. And then you get an explosive play caller on top of that. That's why I say Super Bowl. Because huge upgrades on the line, huge upgrades on play calling, exactly what this team needed. And we all knew it. That's what we all knew. And they were just biding time. They knew Bradley Bozeman wasn't the answer. But when you don't have the tools out there, you don't see a guy who you're crazy about in free agency. You don't see a guy who you're crazy about drafting, although they should have drafted more O-line the last couple of years. That's what happens. So I see us fixing all the problems. We just have two holes to fill on the O-line. And what else do you really need? If Herbert can fix, that's why we need Tyler Lindenbaum so bad. We need him to help with reading the defense and where the blitz will be coming from. Agreed, because Corey Linsley did that perfectly for Herbert. And maybe having Corey Linsley turned out to be a bad thing for the development of Herbert, because Herbert relied so much on Linsley because he was the center, the quarterback of calling out the blitzes and the protections. And maybe that stunted Herbert's growth. But if you get a guy back in like that, you pay Lindenbaum. You pay him. Make him the top paid center in the league. Because that's worth it. To fix that line, you can't say enough about that. And even with, say, for some reason we don't get Lindenbaum or one of these other top centers, Butch Berry has coached up these guys. They were one of the last place teams. Miami was one of the last place teams in terms of spending on O-line, but they were one of the top O-line ranked teams in the league in terms of rushing, in terms of pass protection, in terms of blitz pickup. Miami, with guys off the street, they got an undrafted left tackle to be an all-pro left tackle. So if Butch Berry can upgrade guys, and you're not going to do it with Bradley Bozeman, who the fan base already hates and has shown he doesn't have the talent to do, You're not going to do it with Mekhi Becton. You're getting rid of these guys. You're opening up some cap space. If you get these athletic, smaller offensive linemen that McDaniel and Butch Berry like to use, these guys who get to the second level, who break these blocks off, that open it up for Achane, that are going to open it up for Hampton, that's where you're going to see the explosiveness come from. And the only thing that is weird about all of this is that Harbaugh loves to have a ball control team, and we're going to have explosiveness and place and scoring, and you're not going to be controlling the ball. So you're going to put the defense out there more. So I think there is a chance that this defense steps back because they're going to be on the field more often. Just because we're scoring the ball more, you're going to get the defense out there more often. You're going to put them in more positions where it's going to be tough for them. So thinking about it, we definitely should upgrade the defense even more. After you plug those 2 holes on O-line, get even more defense, because they're going to be on the field more with these explosive 60, 80-yard runs, these design play calls that get Ladd open for a huge play, for a huge touchdown, that get Gadsden wide open in the end zone. You're going to be scoring a lot more on offense than you were with Greg Roman. So this defense needs to come ready to prepare to play a lot more. And there were times this Greg Roman offense was so bad that they did put the defense on the field a lot. So at least they have that experience from that negative part of it. But Sean, I mean, you really think that this team is still 2 years away? What else would you? I want that dude at the linebacker position. I hope we can get one of those guys. Okay, so you want another linebacker? All right. I think, yeah. And you're talking about the Bengals linebacker. So we're so close. It's been so long since this Charger team, and you have to go back to San Diego, 2006, 2018 Chargers. We felt good about, and then they ran into Tom Brady in New England, and that all got dashed. Yes, that defense wins championships. We don't have one yet. Yeah. I mean, until we have a defense that wins a championship, we can't say we do. But I just think we're so close. We're so close. And with Chris O'Leary, I think we can get there. I really think we can. But man, is there any other questions that you guys have? I love hopping on here and talking about the latest with the Chargers. We're so close to getting that complete team. I feel it. I feel it. I can't wait to be back at the games at SoFi, season ticket holder since 2015 in San Diego. I can't wait to be back at the Bolt for training camp. We'll see if they're back in San Diego for a couple days in training camp too. Usually during Comic-Con while I'm down there. But yeah, I mean, Sean, I can see what you're talking about with needing another linebacker, needing a guy who can create havoc. But Man, I just think back to that Patriots game. Oweh had 3 sacks, the Chargers record in that Patriots game. You love to see things like that, but yeah, having more consistent pressure. We focus on improving the O-line this year, and all the focus goes on improving the defense the year after. Well, I mean, that's interesting. That is a thing that the Chargers could do. I just think we can do both because you're not that far away on the O-line. You get the center, you get the right guard. I'd love to draft a swing tackle as well, but if we can get Lindenbaum in free agency, that's so much of the battle. Then you're just using a draft pick or two to fixing this O-line problem. Get a couple more O-line in free agency, and then you can really add a couple more guys who can disrupt the quarterback on defense. Tart was so huge at doing that, and that's why we re-signed Tart. But you get one more guy, Caldwell. If we can get Caldwell on the interior to step up even more, who had a great rookie season in that Puna forward role, if he can improve even more, man, this defense can be scary. It really can. It really can. I feel it, guys. I feel it. You get that complete team, man. And if we don't win it all this year, yeah, I think we do go all in on defense the next year. I think we have 6 or 7 draft picks the year after. You think about Ortiz and the job he's done drafting really well, outside of a couple players here and there, but even up to 6th round, we're getting guys in the 6th round that are becoming valuable members of this team. So you keep drafting like this, and we already have such a team of so many young, up and coming players. It's just great to see. It really is. The future is so bright, and you think about the AFC, and it's up in the air right now with the AFC. The Patriots, because they're in the Super Bowl and they're young, they're the team to beat right now. So I really don't think we're that far away from the Patriots. I don't. You get the right offense, you score points against them. Now, their defense did play great. They confused our team, which is worrying. But Greg Roman didn't have our team prepared, and Mike McDaniel will. So a lot of those worries go away with Mike McDaniel, who just everyone knows is a genius on offense, comes from the Shanahan tree. And we really didn't see the run game that we thought we were going to see this past year with Omari and Hampton going down, with Najee Harris going down. We thought we'd have that dominant run game. And Kamani Vidal was amazing, stepping up. He'd have a game here and there where he'd have a huge run game and we'd win those games. But having it be consistent with McDaniel, I don't think you can quantify how big that's going to be for us to really finally have that run game with Hampton. You could even go get another running back. You could, because running backs aren't expensive anymore. How do you feel about our corners? I'd love to have one shutdown corner that does wonders for a defense. I feel like Dante Jackson is our top corner, is almost to the shutdown level. He he really did a great job this year. So if you can add one more great corner to that room, I think that's what you need. If you can have Dante Jackson playing up to the level he played this last season, and then you add one more guy who's a real shutdown corner, like a Sertan type level, then you don't trust Jackson. So okay, so why is it you don't trust Jackson? Because he was kind of coming back from an injury at the end of the year, so I think his play let up a little bit. But yeah, I think if you get that one true guy like a Sertan kind of corner, and you pair them with Jackson, with Steele, with Cam Hart, I think you have everything you need there. One guy away, one guy away is what I would say, because I like the depth of that room. And Chris O'Leary was such a great secondary coach when he was here with us, so he's going to coach up the guys that we do have. But I've seen us play before on other teams, and he gets beat a lot. Yeah, that's true. With the Steelers, Dante Jackson was getting beat, but he did get he got coached up with the Chargers, like Klinks did with a lot of our secondary, like O'Leary did in 24. But yeah, I feel like our staff kind of finds guys for cheap that they like certain traits. They'll like traits in a guy even if he hasn't played great, and he'll come in and ball out. Like Benjamin St. Juice had a much better year than people expected just because of the coaching. How you liking Harbaugh? So happy we got him out of San Fran. Dakota Miller. I love Coach Harbaugh. I think the pairing with Greg Roman did not work. So yeah, Greg Roman and Harbaugh wasn't going to work anywhere. But Harbaugh with Mike McDaniel, like it a lot more, man. Like it a lot more. So we'll gladly take Harbaugh from you from San Fran. We'll gladly take McDaniels from you from San Fran, and we'll see what happens. I love the season you guys had. You guys had a lot of injuries, did a lot more than what people expected. So yeah, go 49ers. Love to see them have some success. But I'm happy with where the Chargers are at. Sean says, I love the Harbaugh hire. Spanos usually doesn't make expensive coaching hires. Very true. He usually doesn't break the bank. It's usually very difficult for that. Let's see here. But yeah, it's I love the Harbaugh hire too. I just love it. I really do believe we have a shot at the Super Bowl this year, guys. And I get skepticism about it. I get doubt about it. But when you think about where this team was this past year without an O-line, with a terrible play caller, and winning 11 games still, you make everything easy. You upgrade the talent. You upgrade the coaching, and 11 games can become 13, 14 wins even. You win the division, and then you got to get that first playoff game. You win that first playoff game for Herbert, and you get on a roll. And that's what we have to do. That's the way to a championship. We just need to stay healthy, and it seems like every year a real important player for us gets hurt for us that year. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And for the 49ers, the same thing. And I've seen the talk for the 49ers about how their practice facility is near that energy plant and how the energy damages the soft tissue. Some weird theory about that. I'm not sure how much rooted in science that is or not, but there does there is something every year with the Chargers. So if we can finally have that 1 year where we stay healthy, if you can finally have Alton Slater back again, then yeah, this team goes on a run. You know, Hampton, who's never been hurt before, finally gets injured. Najee Harris. You go down the list. So yeah, we need these big important pieces to stay healthy this time. So stay healthy, and the sky's the limit. I love to see it, but don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button. I got some tips on the last show, the live stream. I was sick. I appreciate the tips from you guys. Will Slater become the same player after the injury is the big question mark. I agree. That's a scary injury to have that 50% of players don't even come back from. The good thing I will say about that is I know Slater works hard. He's going to give it everything he possibly can to come back. And so far, they say that Slater is ahead of schedule, that he'll be ready in time for week 1. So, it's a long ways away, but it's encouraging to hear that he's ahead of schedule right now and to know that he's putting in the hard work. If it's humanly possible for Slater to come back, he will. If just physically he can't, that's a huge blow because we have guaranteed cap space tied up with him. The biggest contract in offensive line history, guaranteed. What was it? Over $100 million, I think it was, guaranteed coming to him. That is going to go to waste if he just can't come back. So that's the biggest question mark that we have as a team. Will Slater be back? Will he be like himself? Will he be a fraction of himself? I think you have to move him to right guard. I think Joe Alt has shown he can be possibly the best left tackle in football, like Slater has been before. If he isn't the same player, then we do need the new tackle again, which would be frustrating after the investments we made at that position. Absolutely. Because what do you do when you're paying $100 million tackle who can't play? And, Alt is going to come up for a big deal. The only way you move on from that is you have to draft a right tackle. If Slater can't come back, that's the only move forward, because you can't pay two guys $100 million at tackle at the same time. It's just not possible salary cap wise. So then you're banking on hitting a draft when you're not going to be drafting high up because we're winning 11, 12, 13 games. You're getting guys further back. But I will say the bright spot about that is now we have an O-line coach, Butch Berry, who's actually taken an undrafted guy and made him an all-pro left tackle. So that's the bright side of it. You've got a coach who can coach up this O-line where we didn't have that before. So good times, guys. Bolt up. and peace. Let's go win that bowl next season. Thanks, guys. See you next time.